Today we're going to be using 3 different AI models to write our content, and we're actually going to be using a grader to see which actual AI model spits out the best content. So the test that we're going to be doing is, this is a tool called Phrase. It actually gives you a SEO score on the right hand side, as you can see. It tells you like which keywords to actually have within your content. So what we're going to be using is ChatGPT. We're also going to be using Claude, and we're also going to be using Perplexity and also Gemini as well. Now the funny thing is obviously Gemini, it's owned by Google, and probably about a month ago now, they actually, or Google Search Liaison, tweeted out saying that you should actually be using Gemini for content. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of SEO scores that all of these tools will actually be spitting out. And we're also going to be using one paid tool as well, which is Autoblogging. Now this is in godlike mode, so it'll just be interesting to see what we actually compare against. So let's actually get started. One thing to actually remember is to keep all of these actual AI tools fair. Is I've actually got a preset set of one common issue that all website owners and business owners have is that they don't know what they need when it comes to SEO. This is why I've created the Traffic Accelerator system. The Traffic Accelerator system tells you exactly how many backlinks your website is missing, how many articles you need to publish on your website to gain topical authority, and also what internal link anchors you should be using on your website. You see, I've spoken to tons of business owners over the years, and one commonality that they all have is that they think they need to spend a lot of money to get SEO to work. In reality, that's not the case. The Traffic Accelerator system is actually designed to reduce your cost by taking guesswork out of SEO. If you want the Traffic Accelerator system for your website and you want to rank higher on Google, click the link down below. It's only $195 to get the audit for your website. Now back to the video. Prompts that I'm going to be using. You guys actually can get access to this sheet. It's probably like one of the most advanced sheets out there for actually producing free content. So if you want access to this sheet, click the link down below. Once you actually have access to the sheet, make certain to click on File and make a copy so you can actually edit the sheet yourself. The link is in the description. Just enter your first name and your email and you'll get access to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this sheet, and this sheet, first of all, it needs a couple URLs so it can grab the subheadings. Now the actual keyword that we're actually going to be trying to rank for is best UK marathons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the first result, and I'm just going to paste in the URL here. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to grab all of the actual subheadings here. And we're also going to go on to like position number 2 as well, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're just going to paste in the subheadings here, and as you can see, we've got quite a few subheadings. Now if we actually take a look here, what the prompt does is if there's anything that is not relevant to what we're trying to rank for, it's going to actually ignore. So if we just copy all of this, and if we head over to ChatGPT, so now that we're in ChatGPT, we're just going to actually copy all of these, and we're just going to click paste. So all I've done there is I've just copied this entire content outline. Right now we're just focusing on creating the actual content brief. So that's what we're going to first of all do, and then we're actually going to create the actual article. So this is going to take a few seconds. While this is actually loading, what I'm actually going to do is I am going to create a new Google Sheet just so we can actually track it live. So if we do new Google Sheet, so first of all, what we're going to be testing is ChatGPT 4.0. ChatGPT 4.0. And we'll just increase the font a little bit so you guys can see. And we'll also do score. We will also then do the same for Gemini. So this is the sheet that we're going to be referencing. We've got SEO score and we've also got readability score. And we are actually going to be using all of these different tools. So we've got ChatGPT 4.0, we've got Claude, and we also have a paid tool, Autoblogging.ai or .com. So these are all of the tools, and if we actually go back, now one thing to remember is that every single one of these tools, they're going to all be using the exact same prompt, so it's going to be as fair as possible for all of the free tools. As for Autoblogging, they obviously have got their own prompts, so yeah. Now let's take a look at this. So as we can see here, we've got all of our subheadings. So what we're just going to do is we're going to copy this back into our article builder that we've got. So this is where we actually paste in all of the subheadings, right? And then we've got a sources section as well. So what I'm actually going to do here is if I go to, let's say, marathon for the Wikipedia page, and we're going to actually include this as one of the actual sources. So the reason why we're actually including a source is because we want to fact check the content prior to the actual content actually being produced. So then we're going to go with a informative and the type of article. We're going to go with listicle and the actual keyword that we're trying to rank for, which is best UK marathons. So if we just go back here. By the way, if you guys ever get stuck with any of these settings, there is actually a cheat sheet of what the actual meanings mean. So for example, if it's an informative article, the actual use case for it, when the actual description for it, everything's in here. The scope of the actual article, so the call to actions for the readers and stuff. So for this, we're gonna have, let's see, click through to product pages. Nope, we want to click to read more detailed articles. Yeah, so this is more of an informative articles. We're not really selling anything. So now that we've created the content brief by grabbing all of our competitors' subheadings, we've then imported the content brief into the actual article builder with the prompt. Now this is ready to actually create the actual content, right? So now if we actually go back into ChatGPT and if we just paste in our article here, this is now going to start creating the actual article with all of the subheadings. And then this is going to be ready to actually test on both phrase and also the readability score as well. So ChatGPT has just finished creating our article. It did take a little bit of time to actually create that article, but let's see what it actually scores. So if we take a look here, we're just going to copy this and then just paste that into the actual phrase. So word count as well, that's one thing that I did actually add to the sheet. So word count, we are well in. So we've got 1,163. The recommended is obviously 892, so it could definitely be a little bit over the top, but we've got 1,300 and 1,163, sorry, 1,163. We then have the SEO score of 59%. We'll do a percent sign. And we will also look at the readability as well. So if we just run that through Hemingway. So it's got a readability score, what is it? Readability score of 10. We should be aiming for 9. So if I also just create this font a little bit bigger so you guys can actually see. So that's the score for ChatGPT 4.0. Now, one thing that I do want to make certain that we're doing is that when we're using both of these prompts, we're using it individually every single time, so it is an actual fair test. Because in some cases, like what this prompt tells ChatGPT or whatever LLM you are using, it actually tells the LLM to combine certain subheadings that are similar, and it also gets rid of anything that isn't actually, or it shouldn't actually be included. Because in some cases, websites do have weird subheading formatting. Like for example, this website, for whatever reason, it's pulling in a lot of irrelevant subheadings, and the actual article, it actually starts down here. But the prompt should take care of that. Now, let's take a look at the next one. By the way, put in the comment description, or put in the comment section which one you think is going to be is going to actually finish first, because I'm actually curious to know what you guys think as well. So next one is obviously Gemini. This is going to be an interesting one. So let's do the exact same prompt. We're going to use the exact same competitors. We're going to use the exact same prompts. We're going to use the exact same subheadings. Everything's going to be the exact same, just so it is a complete fair test. So let me just see, is that actually, yes, it actually has included all of the subheadings. I was just wondering if it's actually used the entire prompt, but it actually has done. So let's take a look here. Other considerations. Right, okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to copy all of these subheadings into our content builder. Exactly what we done before. And we're just going to copy this and we're going to tell it to actually write the actual article now. Now, in my experience previously, Gemini has always written very, very short articles. It's just not been great at all. And just by looking at this, it doesn't look like it's going to do a great job. But we'll let it do its thing. We'll let it see what it's actually going to come back with. So far, it's not great. But anyway, let's see. This is Google's own tool as well, just so you guys, if you guys are wondering. So we'll copy all of this and we will paste this in. So to be honest, it's not actually done a terrible job. It's obviously got a 50 score. So if we actually do 50%, word count is a little bit less. It's 931. It's still actually above the recommended word count that Phrase is actually giving you. One thing to remember is that word count, it's not like a ranking factor. People think in a lot of cases word count's a ranking factor. In some cases, actually having less words, having a more confined article can definitely help you. Like I'll give you guys an example. Previously, when we were using content writers, and if we were to tell them like, hey, this article needs to be 1,800 words, they might have finished that article by 1,400 words, but then they're just adding fluff. So just remember that AI can definitely do that as well. Now let's take a look at Hemingway. So the grade's actually pretty decent. It's grade number 9. Mainly because the actual sentences that it actually has used, it's very, very short. So grade 9, just like the best grade that you could probably get. But if we actually take a look at the content that's ranking here, right? If we take a look at, like, for example, position number 1, people typically want to know a little bit more about each actual marathon, like when it actually is. Like, this is like important information, and it's not, to my knowledge, it's not actually included that at all. Yeah, it's not included any dates. Let's just take a look at the ChatGPT article. So neither one has actually included any dates. One thing that I would do, just because I just understand that people would want to know that, like if somebody's searching the best UK marathons and the top recommendation that you actually have on your website is like a marathon that happened like 5 months ago, it's not going to really help. So if I was the one, if I was like the editor, the SEO editor editing any of the content, I would be actually putting in where it actually is located and also the date. It's kind of similar to what these guys are already doing. So I'll just add a little bit of a note here. Notes, no dates for both of them, just so we can keep track of everything. So now we've got Perplexity. This is one tool that I've not used in quite a while, but let's see how it performs, right? So first of all, we're going to grab the actual first prompt here, and we're also, should I use Pro or should I not? I'll not use Pro for this, because I don't think that I've used Pro for any of the other ones. So just came back. That's actually been the quickest one so far to generate, which is actually pretty surprising. We'll then go over to the article builder and we'll drop this in, and we will then do the follow-up and actually write the article. So this is free Perplexity. It's not paid at all. We'll see what it comes back with. It'll be interesting to see if there will be any dates. Again, no dates on any of these articles, which is quite, yeah, no dates at all. All fairly similar with the actual types of questions and stuff that it's spitting out, which is quite good to see. So let's actually copy this and then paste this into phrase. So this is actually scoring the worst. Why is that? Well, I mean, it's not mentioned like one of the key marathons, which is Milton Keynes. Brighton Marathon. Right, okay. So this is 893 word count. 9. I'll just make my face a little bit smaller. So 893 word count, and the phrase score is 44%. And the readability, this will be interesting because this has actually got a little bit of a longer word count. So this is actually grade 10. Okay. Grade 10. Where is the sheet? So grade 10. Now let's take a look at Claude. I have high hopes for Claude, but I could definitely be let down right now. So we're just going to use Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which I believe is the free version. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to use two prompts. We're going to use the subheading prompt first to combine all of the actual subheadings. And we will see how well this does. One thing that I do not like about Claude is it just never formats anything, so it just looks like a big cluster. But again, it's only going to impact its own results. So let's just copy these. At least my article builder formats the subheadings for you. That's the one plus about Claude. Right. So let's paste that in and see what it comes back with. Does look like a fairly short article to begin with, but again, I could be wrong in saying that. One thing that I didn't check on Perplexity is the actual dates. Yeah, there's no dates at all that's actually mentioned on here. Yeah. And it's also, for whatever reason, it's also referencing some weird articles here. Like this article's to do with Blogspot, which is weird. But again, I'm just going to add that to the notes. No dates on Perplexity. Let's see how Claude has actually held up. Actually, do you know what? The article's not too bad in length. It's probably around about the same as the rest. The word count on Perplexity was pretty bang on. It was one word higher than the actual recommended. But let's take a, oh, what's happened here? There we go. One thing that it's not done is it's not actually done the actual subheadings for whatever reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the video for a second. I'm just going to add the subheadings, and then I will resume the video. Right, we are definitely given negative points for Claude, because it's literally just took me like 10 minutes to actually include all of the subheadings on this actual article. But even with the actual subheadings and stuff, we're only getting 46% SEO score. So again, we aren't actually, we've not really actually hit the top three. So we are at 46%. 46%. And let's just take a look at the readability score of this actual article. I'll just remove these. So readability, let's take a look. Readability is actually pretty decent. It's readability of a score 9. But one thing that I did take a look at is that it actually has gone off on a little bit of a tangent. And let me just show you guys that, like, obviously SEO score is an SEO score. It's super easy to manipulate an SEO score. So never just look at or blindly just look at an SEO score. But let me just fill this out very, very quickly. And then I'll show you guys what I actually mean. So this was 46%, 944 words, 944 words, not 9,000. And again, no dates were mentioned. But if we actually take a look, so this article is about best marathons in the UK. But then it's actually starting to like talk about like, for example, the average marathon finish times. Now, something like that, you can definitely include it on the page. I'm not saying don't include it, but I would definitely actually include that lower down in the actual page, not so high up in the actual content. So it's also about how you're structuring content and stuff. Like, for example, if somebody's searching for the best UK marathons, they are pretty clued up on their like their times and how much they want to, or like what time they actually want to finish that marathon in. It can definitely be as a supporting article or a supporting content to this, but actually having the list of popular UK marathon events higher up the page is definitely going to rank you higher. Like, even if we were to just like look at some of this, right, there's no fluff in this actual content. Like, it's just talking, it's got a brief introduction and then it's bang straight into the actual listicle of all the actual marathons throughout the UK. Whereas if we actually take a look at this, there's like a lot of content here above that actual listicle. So yeah, it's not the best, and it's also not like the most in-depth list either. Like the actual content that ChatGPT came back with actually had a lot more it had a lot more marathons. Like, look at the amount of marathons here, right? We've got Great Welsh Marathon, Brighton, Manchester, Boston Marathon in the UK, Blackpool Marathon, Mid Sussex, Three Forts, Milton Keynes, Edinburgh, Sibby Coastal, Farnham, New Forest, Richmond, Loch Ness, Isle of Wight Marathon, Kielder Marathon, Chester, Yorkshire, so on and so forth, right? There's like 20 marathons there. Whereas with the Claude, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marathons. So again, we've not got the best in-depth list by any means. Like, there's also like, they actually have mentioned a few more, but I would have just liked to see like a subheading structure, because that's going to ultimately be the type of content that's going to end up ranking. So yeah, it's not looking good. Now let's take a look at Autoblogging. So this is the Autoblogging example here, and if we actually grab all of this text, so if we just copy that and then just paste that into phrase, as you can see, we have got a 71 score, which is really good. It actually has got a load of actual marathons throughout the UK, which is exactly what we wanted. One thing that this actually has done that the rest haven't is it's obviously bolded certain keywords that it just understands that it is important. So for example, throughout the content, I was looking at it just before, and like Milton Keynes, motivation is actually bolded, and it obviously just knows that motivation is quite an important word when it comes to running a marathon, because obviously you need to be motivated to run and get up and train, etc. And so on and so forth. It's obviously listed a lot of different marathons, which is really good to see. It's also went into like detail. For example, the others combined didn't actually mention anything like there's food stalls at the actual events, there's a finish line, there's medals. Certain things like that can definitely improve your actual content. So this is scoring the highest, 71%. We do actually have the longest word count, 5039. 5039. One thing that I did like that it's done is it's actually really went to town on some of these actual marathons. So like, for example, if we take a look at York Marathon, it's talking about the medieval landscapes and so on and so forth. It's also talking that it's a flat course, so it's easy, it's better or easier to actually achieve your personal best, because obviously if it's a flat course, you can get a much higher or a much lower score or much lower time. So one thing that I will actually say about the notes is it actually has went into a lot of detail. One thing that I would have liked it to have done is actually recommend the dates, but literally not a single content writing tool actually recommended the dates. Let's see, if I just search 2025, no, it's not. So I will actually say it went into a lot of detail, no dates, however. Now, let's take a look at the readability score. So if I go back to Autoblogging, if I just copy that, and if we paste that, the grade is 15. So from a readability point of view, it can definitely be improved. But I think that overall, it's definitely worth the actual extra, I don't know, couple pound or few extra dollars to get that 71%, because no other ones even came close. Like ChatGPT 4.0 was the second, so we'll obviously do some scores as well. So if I do overall rankings, and if we improve that, so obviously Autoblogging was number 1. Then we've got ChatGPT 4.0, and then we have got Gemini at 3, and we've then got Claude at 4, and then Perplexity at 5. So Autoblogging number 1, ChatGPT 4.0 number 2, Gemini number 3, Claude number 4, and Perplexity is number 5 for SEO optimized content. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. I have tried to make this test as fair as possible. There's a lot of people that do some of these flawed tests, but every single content writing tool, bar Autoblogging, use the exact same prompts. They use the exact same subheadings from the exact same competitors. So everything should definitely be in line and as fair as possible. And like what I mentioned before, if you guys do want the article builder sheet, you can get the actual sheet for yourself down below. Just make certain to click on file and then make a copy. But What other tests like this do you want me to run? Obviously, I've got access to a lot of different tools. So let me know what you guys want me to test out next, and I will try to come up with a fair solution for each different LLM, and we'll test it. And as always, if you guys have enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like. And if you guys want a growth strategy call for your website, make certain to check out casualdash.com. The link is down below. And thanks for watching.